you'll be pleased to hear that I'm not going to rabbit on for too long. I just thought I'd share with you some quick tips today on organic growth. So without spending any money, that's always a pleasing way. Just before I do it, is it just by show of hands, has anybody defined the perfect marketing strategy yet? Has anybody got more business that they can handle? No, I am in the right room. It's okay. So say again, sorry.
I have over the next few weekends.
You have?
Yeah.
I'm really keen that we get as much value from this. So let's just like Toby's done, we'll keep it informal. If anybody's got any questions, feel free to shout out. If you don't agree with something I'm saying, again, please do shout out. I love to be told different opinions on stuff. Also, when I saw the agenda and I saw that was after Toby, I thought, bugger, because he's really engaging. I've seen him present before, and he's got some fantastic tips. So to follow that, I thought this is going to be even harder, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add as much value as I possibly can. I'll just tell you a little story, if I may, beforehand. So I launched my business about 2 years ago. It was only ever going to be a lifestyle business. I left a job where I travelled far and wide, and I wanted to spend more time at home with my family. I don't know if anybody can relate to that. I was spending a lot of time away. I had a 2-year-old son at the time, 3-year-old son at the time, and I was spending loads and loads of time away, and I felt like I was missing everything. So I launched my business, my why. I launched the business so that I had a lifestyle business that I could spend more time away at home. And I guess I'm in marketing, and if I didn't grow our business, I'd have been a terrible marketer, right? And thankfully what happened was the business did grow, and we've expanded since, and we've got Callum at the back recording today's session. But it all happened as a result of the organic methods that I'm going to tell you about. So one of the first things I did when I started the business was I thought, who is there around me that's got more influence than I've got? And that was everybody, because I didn't know anybody in Lincoln at the time. I spent all my time in Birmingham or London. So I reached out to, and also I'm a massive football fan. I don't know if any other football fans in the room. It's a good time to be a football fan right now, right? Top of the group. So I reached out. I realised I was never going to get a directorship at Lincoln City Football Club, League One side. So I reached out to Lincoln United. That's the lesser team in Lincoln. Very few people have ever heard of them, but they got to the FA Vase semi-final this year, and the women won the treble. And I thought, well, I'll reach out to somebody I know at the football club. And that's the power team piece, right? So I reached out to a guy called Glenn. I was just like, is there anything I could do to help out? I'm looking to build my network locally. And he said, come and join the board. It wasn't quite what I was looking for straight away. But I had a bit of time, new business, everybody's got time, right, as a business owner, not always the case. And before I knew it, I was ushered onto the board. And that started to build my network in Lincoln, and that's not cost me any money, it's just costing me a little bit of time. Then I thought, well, what else can I do? So I launched a website called Business Imp. Has anybody ever heard of it? No, we need to market it better then, don't we? So we launched this about a year and a bit ago, Callum. We've not done a great deal of promotion on it. What we've done is essentially every event I've gone to, I've talked about it and I've told people what it is. It's basically like a business community. We all want to grow our digital footprint, right? We all want to be seen better online, and we don't want to spend any money doing it. So I thought, well, let's give people a website where they can put a free online listing, a bit like Yell, so to speak, but one that we trust. I thought we'd build a website where people can get an online listing and share any good news. So we built Business Imp, and it's got 86 businesses as of this morning, I think, about 87 businesses as of this morning now that are sharing either good news, stories, or anything like that onto it. And as you can appreciate, within about 12 months, things got a bit busier. And she's here, although this is being recorded, she won't see it because she doesn't follow us on socials, my wife. But she's a wonderful lady, but she describes me as socially awkward. So the idea of going to a networking group fills me with anxiety. Is anybody else in the same position? We're all at a networking group, so I guess you're all over that anxiety. But the idea of having to go and speak to people in a format where, typically speaking, this is a sweeping generalisation, so forgive me, but nobody ever goes to a networking event to buy anything, do they? They always go to sell something. They always want to promote their business. Well, I thought to myself, well, what can we do to improve that? So my wife, she calls me socially awkward, so I always tend to start with that, and it sort of breaks down a few barriers. Well, the way that I like to do business, and I probably shouldn't be talking about this at 10 o'clock in the morning, is I like to go for a beer. Anybody else the same? So I set up a networking group called Beers and Business, and we meet in Lincoln on a monthly basis. Toby, you've heard of Beers and Business. So I thought, well, that's a good way for me to build relationships, and it's exactly what everybody's been talking about this morning. You build relationships with people, you harness the knowledge that everybody else has got, and selfishly, that's why I did it. So I wanted to grow my network, so I used Lincoln United and the people within that. I wanted more data, so I launched Lincoln Business Imp, and I wanted to build relationships with people locally so that I could understand what they do and I could articulate that to other people, right? So I launched Beers and Business. If anybody wants an invite to Beers and Business, let me know. It's normally the last Friday of the month, starts at 4 o'clock. We never know when it's going to end. So that's what we did to launch the business. Fast forward 2 and a bit years now, I'm pleased to say, I hope it continues, that we've grown massively. We've now got a team of 4 people. We outsourced to another 2, and business is growing. But I've not spent a penny on marketing, okay? Not traditional marketing, no paid ads or anything like that. Does anybody have a defined marketing budget? Does anybody know exactly what they're going to spend on a monthly basis or a yearly basis? Some do. I don't worry, this isn't a sales pitch. I'm not going to come and pounce on you afterwards. But the key thing that lots of business owners, and certainly in the micro space or the small to medium space, small space, they don't. And therefore, anything that we can do to grow our business organically is a win, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 10 tips to do that organic growth and just to see what we can do to harness that growth within your business. And the first thing to do is to set up a Google business profile or a Google business page. Does everybody have one of those in place? Does anybody not have one? Perfect. You're all, well, you're already marketeers, right? So this is an example of ours. This is a screenshot. This presentation has been going for a while now. So obviously we've got, I think, a couple more Google reviews since. But what this basically does is it just helps people to know, like, and trust us, right? Like the headshot piece does. This is the same thing. And you can put your headshots onto your Google business profile. But your Google business profile, treat it like a social media channel. You can post onto it on a regular basis. And we remember that Google, 93% of web traffic goes through Google. So if we ignore every other marketing channel, focus on Google first and foremost, whether that's organic SEO, so putting blogs onto our website and making sure that we've used keywords and things like that. When we think about our website, super important, make sure it's indexed. Use Google Search Console for your key tags and things like that. But also make sure that you've got this set up and make sure that this, your Google business profile, is fully optimized. So the things to optimize it, make sure that you've got your website set up, you've got your telephone number on there, and make sure that you're collecting Google reviews. Forget Trustpilot, forget anything else. Start collecting Google reviews. Because when somebody searches for, let's say, I don't know, link marketing company near me, I want to pop up on that search, and people are going to be Googling that, aren't they? That's why they call it the Googling now, right? So they're not going to go to, so they'll Google marketing company near me, and then there'll be a map function that pops up. The more Google reviews that you've got, typically speaking, the more likely you are to be found, and obviously the higher average that you have. So that's the fundamental thing. You want as many 5-star reviews as you possibly can, and you want to space it out. So you want that on a consistent basis. So 3 this week, 3 next week, 3 the week after, so on and so forth. So optimize that profile and then post onto it. So if you use a scheduling tool like, I don't know, Buffer or Hootsuite or something like that, make sure that you're posting to your Google business profile as well. What I can tell you just about the Google business profile is that when I launched our business 2 years ago, we had 0 web traffic, right? Brand new website, brand new brand. And then last month, we had 134,000 hits through our Google onto our website. That was just last month. All organic. I'm not paid for a single bit of ads, and it's just consistent approach to marketing. That's all it takes, and you don't need a marketing agency to help you with that. You write a blog on a regular basis, you make sure you're using keywords, and you post that out across all your channels. All of that will help when Google indexes or scrolls through your website. It helps to put them in front of your ideal audience. Does everybody have a CRM system? Or does everybody know what a CRM system is? No idea. So a CRM system is basically like a giant spreadsheet. It's somewhere that you'll store all of your client data, customer relationship management. It's somewhere that you'll store that data securely. Typically speaking, it's a cloud-based system. You can access it anywhere, whether it's on a phone or an app or something like that. But also what it enables you to do is to find contacts easily, to send them messages on a regular basis, maybe to put them through specific sales funnels. And all of that enables you to engage with them on a regular basis. So do we all get emails from, I don't know, Virgin Holidays and things like that? It's because you're in their CRM system. At some point, you will have signed up to an email marketing list, and then they'll send you as many emails as they like, providing that they've got consent to do so. And that's what they're doing through a CRM system. So having one of these in place will help you re-engage. I was having a chat with Sally back earlier on, and we were talking about how easy it is to disengage an audience, and with a lack of regular communication will do that. But if you engage your clients or your customers on a regular basis, it's 5 times easier to convert them to resell, to upsell, than it is to bring on a new client or a new customer. So therefore, using this, which theoretically you can use HubSpot, it's completely free. You can use this to engage your audience on a monthly basis, and all it's going to cost you is a little bit of time. Anybody heard of the small business marketing principle? It basically provides that you invest time over expenditure. So as a small business owner, and I'm sure many of you will disagree with me here, but theoretically we've got more time than we have money, right? So if we invest that time in our business and spending a bit of time on the business rather than spend it on ads, which will give us that quick win, then we're more likely to see longer term sustainable growth. So make sure any data that you collect goes into here. Perfect example, I'm sorry to call you out on this, Toby, but you know the QR codes at the thing, on Toby's, that's information capture. Toby wants you to connect with him. He's got you in his funnel, so to speak. Then that's what it's all about, right? That's fundamentally important for us as business owners. That's that data piece. So I would suggest to you all that you're a data business before you are what you are, if that makes sense. So I'm a data business before I'm a marketeer. And also, I don't know everything there is to know about marketing. I should have prefaced it by saying that, shouldn't I? But I surround myself with people who know more than I do. I'm always the stupidest person in the room. Okay, next thing we'll talk about is social media in general. So there's multiple channels, as Toby mentioned, and you'll theoretically and hopefully have specific content plans for each specific channel. But if I were to ask you one question, and that was, where does most of your business come from right now? If it's a social media channel, and if it's a specific social media channel, invest your time in that channel. Start to utilize it. And then start to bring in other channels, little bits of content here and there, just consistently over a period of time, and you'll start to see follower growth. But the key thing is posting consistently. So I post, typically speaking, 3 times a week. Toby mentioned my thoughts on posting. So I take selfies at every meeting I go to. People hate it, and I recognise, I don't need to be told this, but I recognise I've got a face for radio. My wife tells me about it all the time. But I still take those selfies, and I take those selfies and post them, because if somebody sees it on LinkedIn, they'll be like, they might come to a business event and they don't know me specifically, but they say, oh yeah, I've seen you on LinkedIn, or I've seen you before. And that's it. It's the start of that know, like, and trust principle. So I post on a regular basis, and I use it for social proofing. So if I'm out with Toby and I take a selfie, I post it because people trust Toby, and by proxy, hopefully then they'll start to trust me. It's soft sales psychology. And I don't want this to be like a really salesy, like aggressive idea. It's just about building that know, like, and trust over a period of time. So we consistently post, and then we post using the 5-3-2 principle. So obviously nobody wants to be sold to, and that's not what social media is about, not unless you're doing paid ads. But what we want to do is we want to build that know, like, and trust. So if you think about anybody that you follow on social media and the sorts of content that they post, if you take, I don't like him, but Stephen Bartlett, I probably shouldn't say that on camera, should I? Stephen Bartlett, I respect him. That's what I should say. Stephen Bartlett, well, he would. Stephen Bartlett is an incredible marketer who's built a fantastic audience, an incredible business, right? And he adds value on his social media post. And that's what the 5-3-2 principle is all about. It's about, we post typically a sales post 1 in 7, but everything else is about how can we add value to our audience? How can we demonstrate that other people are using our services or buying our products, and that they know, like, and trust us? And that's all I'm doing, and that's all I tell our clients to do. So it's about posting on a regular basis. So 5 times might be a little bit about the business, about what you're doing, who you're meeting. 3 times might be about you, it might be non-business related, and 2 times might be something that's going on. So Jeff mentioned the election that's coming up. You can still relate that somehow to the business world and still post that on LinkedIn, for example. So that's what the 5-3-2 model is. I realise I'm spending more than 2 minutes on the slide, so I'm going to rush through as we go. The next tip for you is working towards 5 key objectives. So when I started the business, I told you that it was only ever going to be a lifestyle brand. I just wanted enough money just to pay the mortgage, keep a roof over my wife and son's head. Things changed, and then we went on holiday. Really quick story. Went on holiday, and I spent all week working. I missed 3 park and ride buses just because I was sending emails. I was like, just one more email, love, just one more email. And needless to say, I got a bollocking on the drive back from Devon. So that's when we put a job advert out, and we invited Ross to join us. But it was at that point that my 5 business objectives changed. Does everybody have a business plan in place? Anybody not got a business plan? Okay, so if you don't have a business plan, I would encourage you just to have 5 key objectives. Write them down. Make sure that they're all measurable. So turnover target, social media audience, number of appointments that you see on a weekly basis, number of clients that you'd like in your client bank by X period of time. And that gives you something to work towards. So like I say, I got back off this holiday. We basically rewrote the business plan on the drive back home, and we refocused basically and gave ourselves a new target to aim towards. And now we've got Ross and Callum in the office. We've got MJ working with us and 2 outsourced. Business plans changed again because obviously the business is growing. So we revisit that. But what we're doing is we're starting with the end in mind. So I've told you about my work with Lincoln United. I've told you about Business Imp. I haven't told you about some of the other projects that we're working on, but the end in mind for us is that we're building a media group now. So I recognise that, let's say I was going to sell the business in 5 years' time when I get to 40. I know it's hard to believe that I'm not yet 40. But the end in mind might be a business sale. So for me, I've got to work towards that. So I start working backwards. What do I need to do to sell the business? What do I want to sell it for? And how do I work backwards? So if you imagine you're climbing a ladder, right? And it might be social media growth. Saying that you want to get 10,000 followers on social media is a big lofty target, right? Well, let's break it down. Let's go for the first 1,000. We've just added another rung to the ladder. We've made it easier to climb. So we start with the end in mind. So those 5 business objectives will be fundamentally important, but knowing what you're working towards will also be. And then you surround yourself with, I think it's the next slide, the power team. So I've mentioned the power team briefly. The power team are people that know more than you do. They might be more influential, better looking, better with networking, whatever it might be. And you bring them into your circle, into your sphere. It's suggested that you are some of the 5 people you most closely surround yourself with, right? So as I mentioned, I always try to be the stupidest person in the room, and it's not hard. So what I then do is I bring people along with me on the journey that know more. So Callum at the back, video Mo, he knows everything about social media, TikTok and everything. So I let him run with it. I bring him in and I'll just ask him questions, stupid questions if I don't know the answer to something. And then obviously he works with our team on that. But yours might be the business growth, the hub, might be LEP. It may, like all of these different things surround yourself with these people. Harness whatever information that you can from them, ask stupid questions, and you'll see business growth as a result. I don't need to tell you this, but it's all about the journey, right? Not the destination. I know I said start with the end in mind, but this is the journey that we're trying to enjoy, and we want to see that growth, and it's that power team that will help you get there. It's so much easier to do it with people around you than it is to start building a business on your own. With that in mind, what I'll do is, if anybody wants a free hour of marketing support, you just want to sit down and you want to talk through your business and you'd like a bit of a guidance or advice, I'm more than happy to sit down and just say, consider speaking to this person or go to this event or whatever the case may be. I might give you pointers on your website or anything like that. I've talked about data. It's my favourite thing in the world. It's really sad that, isn't it? The data's my favourite thing. But ultimately, you're a data business first. Think about what information you're capturing. If you're not capturing information, think about how you could start to capture information. So for me, at the end of September, we run a conference called the Lincolnshire Marketing Conference over at Lincoln at the Hilton. Anybody's welcome to come. And we also run an awards following that, and that's the Lincolnshire Marketing Awards. And that's open till the end of this month, I think, to enter. Completely free to enter. I'm letting you into a little secret here. It's free to enter because we don't want to put barriers in the way of people getting recognition for their success. But selfishly for us, of course, we want data. We want to know who's entering the awards, what business sectors they're in, and then we can utilise that data for whatever purposes. It might be to run an event, it might be to be able to make introductions. All of that, it's all because of data. So start to know your data. If you've got a CRM system, your client relationship management system, think about adding additional fields. All of them are customizable. So you might be able to track average client transaction value. You might be able to track the length of time that person's been in your database for. And all of these things are important, all because of data. The next thing is let's make things easy for ourselves. There's loads of people that go out and spend, I don't know, £50 boosting a post on Facebook and then say, well, social media marketing doesn't work for me. Well, it might be because that's not where your fish are. So I've said to you before, think about your most successful marketing channel, and that theoretically is where your fish are. So for us, we've got a couple of marketing agencies, and one of ours is in the legal sector. So we work with law firms, and so we go to legal events, law society events, specifically because that's where our fish are. Or we'll go and speak to the legal press to find out where their audience is or who they've got within their audience, because it's the most cost-effective way for us to get in front of our audience, and that's without spending any money. So think about that and fish where the fish are. The next thing I'll say is that when we are fishing, we don't want to fish with a rod. We don't theoretically just want that next client. And there might be somebody in the room that's the way they do it because it might be a higher ticket item, but typically speaking, we want to go after our next 10 clients rather than the next one. We want predictable income over a period of time. And if you've got the ability to adopt our monthly recurring revenue into your business for more predictable growth, then start to think about it. I appreciate I'm racing through this, so anybody who wants any questions or anything afterwards, I'm more than happy to go through it, or we'll send you across the video and the slides. The penultimate thing that we're going to talk about is your business footprint. So I've told you that Google is the most important search engine. The second biggest search engine is YouTube. So if you're not on those two channels, then certainly think about how you might be able to get onto those two channels. But just remember that your footprint's so much bigger than that. And if somebody searches for your business name or searches for you as an individual, you'd like to be found, right? So things like having your own website, for example, is fundamental. Maybe having landing pages specific to key services, that increases your digital footprint. Every single one of your social media channels increases your digital footprint. Going onto free directories like Business Imp, Yale, Thompson Local, all of these things increases your digital footprint. But you want to build it so that you're as visible as you possibly can be. And again, lots of this costs zero. It just takes a little bit of time in investing in it. There are aggregators out there, which is basically you go and put your information into it and say, list me on all of these platforms, and you might spend, I don't know, a couple of £100 doing it. But ultimately, your information will then be out on all of these different sites, and you've only had to do it once. And then the final thing, you'll be pleased to hear I'm stopping now, but the final thing is, when it comes to marketing, is consistency. So when I launched our business, it was just me, and we just wanted a steady income, but I still posted consistently, and that's what resulted in the additional demand for our services. And we still do the same thing now. As Toby mentioned, I schedule all my content out on a Sunday morning before I've got out of bed or before the kids have come and jumped on me. I post it, and then nobody cares that it wasn't them in that moment. They just see it, and they'll recognise either who I'm with, or they'll see the tags, and I'll get the interactions. So, but the key thing is I do that every single week. I consistently do it. And it used to say, is it 21 days to form a habit? I was speaking to a leadership expert the other day that said it's now 70 days. So just do it on a regular basis, post as often as you possibly can. And as Toby mentioned, take a selfie today, grab a selfie with Toby, and post that as your first sort of effort towards that consistent marketing piece. You'll be pleased to hear that's it from me. If anybody has got any questions or wants that free hour of marketing support, there's no tie-ins, there's no catch. I'm not going to start to try and sell you anything. It's just how can we add value? What would you like to achieve? So feel free to reach out should you wish to. Thank you ever so much, guys.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, buddy.